Welcome to Behind the Sign, the rumors and the mess behind the for sale sign.
Hot takes you want to know in real estate.
We're experts in the Chicago market.
And you guys, it's going to be absolutely unhinged.
Like my jaw on a Friday night.
Oh my
Ooh, I've been sitting on that one for a long time. Oh, thank God we got that out of
That
there.
one from home, didn't you?
Oh, you'll be holding
Friday
that
or
one, yeah?
Saturday,
Working
depending on my
hard.
mood.
Okay, welcome to our first episode. Basically, the layout of the episodes, we found some stories on the real estate subreddit that we are going to read, discuss, and give our opinions, takes, etc.
And we are very opinionated.
We sure are, especially on that side,
That side of the
room.
aisle. Yep.
This is the block.
I have
This
morals
is the vibe.
personally, so we'll
That's
see.
true.
We don't.
Uh-oh.
No,
Well,
speak for, I don't know. Do you?
Speak for yourself.
So do you guys think we should dive into our first story?
Yeah, I think we should go straight into it.
Ooh, not straight.
Okay, everyone, put your listening hats on. Story number 1. Long story short, we found a house that checked all of our boxes and then some, but the bidding wars in our area have been pretty crazy. How should we approach it? Should we ask them what price they're willing to cancel future showings? Should we make our best offer now? Or should we wait until after the open house when they ask for best and final offers? The house is in the 800,000s and I'm willing to go $70,000 above asking. I've seen agents use early offers as leverage at open houses, telling people they have 10 offers already well above asking. I can't pay cash, but I'm willing to waive the inspections and the appraisal. So far, we've been unwilling to get into any bidding wars and we've lost out on everything. I have flexibility in terms of moving date and we don't need a contingency to sell our current home. What do you guys think about this? What should she do? Oh,
Who
I'm
goes
assuming
first?
she's a girl. Joe, what do you think?
Oh, gosh, not me first.
Okay, Nick, what do you think?
Okay.
Oh, you took that seriously. Okay, fine. I'll wait. I'm patient.
Okay. First of all, a few things to unpack here. Let me start with: did your agent offer escalation rider? I think that would be the very first thing.
But do you think she should do that now? Like, so basically it seems like she's seen the house before the open.
Okay.
And she's like, should we offer now and do, an escalation? But like, you wouldn't do an escalation because
You wouldn't do an escalation
in this
if-
situation,
yeah,
it seems
that's
like
true.
there's not any offers yet. Like,
Hold on. Is she cash?
No,
No,
she
No,
can't.
not
Okay,
cash.
so
cash.
how much? I would ask first, how much are you putting down? Like, what's your
Oh,
offer
she's
going to look
waiving
like?
an appraisal.
It seems she's
so
probably
I
putting
think-
20.
At
yeah.
least 20% down if she's waiving the appraisal. Yeah. I mean, well, it's not up to her to waive the appraisal at the end of the
I
day.
think
she
she's saying
means
she's going to
appraisal
do an
gap.
appraisal
yeah,
gap.
she's probably doing 20% down, and she doesn't have to sell her current home. At the end of the day, if I was you, I'll go to my buyer's agent and be like, hey, give me a number. Go to the listing agent and get me a number. What is it? Like 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100,000 over asking. Considering they're already into the 70,000 over asking price, which is very reasonable. Now, at this point, if I'm the buyer's agent, I'm going to go there. I'm going to call the agent and be like, give me one number. Tell me the number that they're willing to cancel everything, and we'll get it to you, right? Even if they say 150 over, just give me one number. And then at the end of the day, if they're in the price range of 70,000, 80, 90,000 over, if they say, okay, 890 is the number and we'll cancel everything, then at least you have a choice. Be like, okay, do we go $20,000 over the budget that we're preparing to spend for this, or we gonna go, or we're just gonna forego the house, or we can wait until the open house is over and then offer whatever we want to offer.
I agree. It depends what this person's agent can get from the listing agent.
I also think that regardless, you have to put something in writing. I would put something in writing before the open house, because if you just come after asking for a number without having something in writing, you may not be taken seriously. Honestly, so I would put your best foot forward up front, but then communicate to the agent that you can, like, if the number is different, if there is a gap that we can close to make it work, that we can do it. That way, while you have it in writing, you're one of the first showings, which I'm assuming, since you mentioned that you got in before the open house. Your agent has days to be communicative and sell themselves as well, because it's not only about the client's offer, it's also about the buyer's agent and the listing agent wanting to work together. So to answer her first question, whether she should wait until after open house, I don't think so. I think she should do it now so that you have that marinating sitting and you're communicating, and maybe then you have a chance to actually cancel it.
Do you think though that because she's saying she's worried about the listing agent continuing to go through with the open houses and then using her offer as leverage?
I was going to make the
Well, you
exact
can put
same
a
point.
deadline on that too. You can put an offer to, depending on what day of the week we're talking about. If it's like Tuesday and they just listed, you saw the house, I would say, listen, do your showings, think of the number, but this offer expires on end of business Thursday. That's what I would do.
But if I'm if I'm a listing agent and somebody gives me an offer for 870 without even prior to the open house, right? I'm literally going to make an email between most of the agents that requested to go on the open house, because so some of the agents do actually contact you and get you kind of a notice that they will be attending with their clients at the open house. I'll be like, hey guys, listen, I already have $70,000 over asking, like even prior
you can't
to
do
it.
that. But in an email, especially not. My
No,
God.
you cannot
Nothing
do
in
that.
writing. I learned that in college.
No,
You
but I
can
will say,
you can
though,
call everyone.
You don't only do that, you submit it and then you give amazing terms. She's waiving an inspection, she's waiving an appraisal. So you're already promising an easy transaction. That in combination with your agent being communicative and saying how much she wants the house. And again, I'm assuming it's a she wants the house, and I think it actually may work because a lot of sellers will accept an easy buyer and an easy offer at a great price rather than going into open house and having 7 offers on the table. Maybe one of them will go up $70,000 over asking. Maybe one of them won't. Maybe one of them will waive inspection, and maybe they won't.
It also, well, Joe, I want you to give you a second to talk too. But my point just to that real quick is that it also, you might not get the offer accepted before the open house, and they might still go through the open house and get multiple offers. But since you were the first one in, you were like very serious and, going above and beyond when there was nothing else on the table. Listing agents do respect that, and they also respect buyers agents who are fighting for their clients. I mean, I know from my experience, like when I am listing something and there's multiple offers, like the agent who's calling me and who's the first to the table, like I do give them a little bit of an upper hand. Not obviously, I'm not going to recommend that my client go with an offer that doesn't financially make sense. But if it's really close and there's an agent who's only emailed me and like hasn't said anything good about their client, and then there's another agent who's called me and is telling me that this house is perfect for their client and they're so in love with it and they'll do anything to have it, like that makes me feel better.
Yeah, I think there's like 2 major points. First of all, there's a conversation with the buyer on how bad do you actually want this house. Like you say you'll go up to, what was it?
70 over ask.
70 over ask. But when they actually accept it, are you going to get sticker shock and be like, oh no, that's too much? Or are you going to go through with it? Like that's a very serious conversation, because I mean, we see it happen all the time where people say they'll go this much over and then they accept it. And then you're like, actually, oh, never mind. Or another house popped up that I want to go see. Like you have to be all in at that point right from the get. Also, it's worth bringing up that this is where agent relationships matter, because if it's my client and it's your listing, then I would feel really good about you actually telling me like, will this get it done? Like there's a good rapport there. So I think just another point to make that you should have an agent that is well connected and has good relationships with other people in the industry for exact situations like this.
And honestly, to that point, this might be a little bit controversial, but if you're not serious and you are going to back out and your agent is like going out on a limb for you and sticking their neck out and telling the other agent, like, this client is so serious, they're going to do anything to get it done, and then you cancel, that does hurt your agent's reputation, which like your agent always is acting in your best interest and does whatever you want, but like, don't be...
Yeah, but
we're
you're
not
not this agent's only client. Like he's going to have other clients that he has to communicate with these brokers. And back to your first point, they already mentioned in the story when they in the beginning of the story that they've been burned a few times in terms of they've lost on multiple houses already.
Yeah, so they might want to burn somebody else back.
Well, they said they didn't want to get into bidding wars, so I don't know if they did an offer, because I think it said something.
From this, I feel like they're kind of trying to say, from what I can read between the lines, that they want to put the offer in before the open house to avoid the bidding war. I don't think that's ever going to happen. And it sounds like a very competitive market wherever this person lives.
Wait till the fall.
Yeah, option one. Or like, I guess what we're saying is that offering early before the open house and being really communicative and on top of your stuff and making sure your offer is really aggressive, it might not circumvent the multiple offer situation, but it might give you an upper hand in the end to eventually win.
Because if I'm the listing agent, I'm going to be like, put it in writing, and then we'll discuss it. And then once I have it in writing, I'm going to be like, I'm going to have the open house to be like, we have an offer.
I was going to say the same thing. Like if you look at it from a listing agent perspective, again, listing agents are acting as we're acting on the buyers. In our buyer's best interest, the listing agent is doing the same thing for the seller. So if I'm a listing agent in this situation, I have all the leverage.
Right.
Period.
Especially if there's a lot of interest.
And it sounds like the spring market.
And you're, as the listing agent, acting in your client's best interest, who's the seller, and their best interest is to get the most offers and the most money.
Most offers, most money, and easier transaction.
Exactly.
That's a one thing that a lot of people, especially when it comes to a higher budget, like when you go close to $1 million, does that $10,000 or $15,000 worth it? Like, is it worth it to put your sellers through pure hell and get them $15,000 more, or somebody like you mentioned in the very beginning, be like, okay, yeah, that's going to be a pretty easy transaction. They're financially stable. They're very motivated. Let's go with it. But again, it really depends on the situation.
I also want to say that we actually don't know what market they're talking about. So $70,000 sounds like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
In some markets, or at least this past spring, I've personally experienced this more than usually, where the listing agents would specifically underprice the properties to get more. So it sounds like a lot of money. I also don't know.
Right.
Like, we are all talking about that the house is really priced at the low 800s and you're willing to overpay on it. But if the house is actually valued at 900, they priced it at 800 to get multiple offers, then sadly, I don't think there's a whole lot you can do.
That's also kind of the issue, I think, with this person's like fundamental thinking is like, if you really want a house, you can't really go into it saying like, I'm willing to pay this much over asking, because it really, like you said, Anastasia, depends on how the house is priced, what the seller and the listing agent strategy is, like if they've priced it right, if they price it high, if they price it low. So that is also a factor. Like, you kind of have to be a little bit more open, especially if you are trying to like circumvent the whole multiple offer situation and get the seller's number up front and get them to cancel stuff like the open house, then you're going to have to probably go higher than you're expecting.
Well, this comes to a competent buyer's representative, basically. If I go somewhere with a buyer and I'm telling him, hey, dude, like this house is worth $900,000 based on everything else around it, and they're listed at $820, they're out of their minds. Like, this should be going probably for $950 right now. Why don't you go straight ahead and just go with $900 and maybe try to get that number up front without putting something in writing? And I personally would go that way. I would call a listing agent and be like, give me a number.
But you're not going to get a number unless you have something in writing. I can call anyone and ask them for a number. If I am a listing agent and a random person calls me and says, give me your number, I haven't seen anything in writing. I don't know what financing they're doing. You may tell me that they'll waive inspection, but people say things all the time. I have a buyer tell me all the time, I'll do this, and then they sleep on it and they think, you know what, it's a little bit too much. I think you have to have something in writing regardless. Otherwise, it's just words.
I would write a contract with all the terms and be like, you put the price.
Oh,
Savage.
drop the mic.
Put the price and I'll have the buyer again. And Joe made a good point. How serious is the buyer?
What'd you just say?
Joe made a good point.
Okay, I just wanted to hear it again.
How serious is the buyer? Like, do you trust your buyer enough that they'll sign on a random number on a contract?
Also,
if they want it bad enough.
They don't. They have a top number.
Yeah,
here,
it depends.
like,
what's their pre-approval? We're not. This person can't pay cash. We're not dealing with a billionaire here. Like, we're gonna become soon once this podcast goes viral.
LMG.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on this, Joe?
I just would say another point to make with the buyer's agent needs to talk with the buyer is like, what is your goal? How long do you plan to stay there? You got to think about resale value, because you say you're going to pay $70,000 over. Like, let's say you pay $70,000 over what it's valued at. You better be able to make that money back by the time you want to sell it. Or, you know what I mean? Like, you got to think about bird's eye view about where you're going with this place as well. So there's a lot of questions. And that's when I'm like, well, who's your buyer's agent? Because these questions should kind of already be answered.
True.
Oh,
Do
true.
you know what I
Well,
mean?
they obviously
That's
don't
true.
trust their
Not
buyer's
going
agent if they're coming to Reddit.
Reddit.
Yeah, that's
So-
true. That's very true.
Problem number 1.
Problem number 1 is call us, follow behind the sign.
It sounds like you're in Chicago. A
Yeah,
house,
yeah.
In
We
a
work
bidding
in
war,
Chicago.
price in the 800,000s. Like that is,
Lincoln Park.
yeah.
2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Lincoln
And-
Park.
Ew.
And
Exactly.
again, to Anastasia's point, in Lincoln Park, things are going like 7 to 10% over asking. So like
And, like-
actually 70,000 over asking on an $800,000 place is not.
Can we have a moment like why? I know like schools and stuff, but like Lincoln Park is like, or do we like?
I
live it?
know.
I like living
Dude,
in
really?
I, yeah, I
It's
do.
the park.
No, it's
It's the park.
it's in the name.
Let me put you
Like,
on to
let
this
me-
thing called Lincoln Park.
let me elaborate on that.
It's a
The
hidden
last
gem.
4 clients I took out in Lincoln Park on a good day, out of towners.
On a good day, like what? The stocks are up.
No, sunny.
The
sunny,
sun's out.
The sun's
Oh,
out. The
okay.
good, literally good day, sun's out.
Okay.
You can
All
walk.
4 days in Chicago. Yep. Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
All of them are like, oh my God, I can walk and it's so pretty. This is the place. That's it. And I'm like, okay, let's go shop. But are you prepared to pay $100,000
Because
over?
it's pretty?
Sure. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, because
Yeah.
people
Honestly, yes.
like being in the city and getting like nature, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
like the park and the lake, like that, people eat that up.
But you could live in Gold Coast, like on Dearborn. There's a tree-lined street, and the lake's
Ew.
right there.
Yeah, but your HOAs are like $900 to
And you're living
$1,600.
with like 100-year-olds.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, not age discrimination.
So,
Nope, nope. This is an age discrimination-free podcast.
Someone call the IDFPR.
Okay, except that I just said that.
Cut it. Cut it.
sounds like something we would say.
Okay,
Yeah.
oh my
So
god.
leave that for that side.
Yeah, that's our side of the.
Oh my
That's our side of the
God.
other conservatives here.
Okay.
Don't be a conservative.
Moving
That's true.
on. Shall we move on to our next story?
Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah.
about time.
Can we come up with another name besides story?
Okay, our next Reddit submission.
Discussion.
Scenario.
Our next scenario.
Yes.
Okay.
I like that.
All right, it's our
Because
first episode.
you can't use words like circumvent and then say story. Do you know what I mean? I can't wait to use circumvent in a sentence. So thank you for.
Circumvent's a good word.
Yeah, I don't exactly know what it means, but I'm looking forward
Circumvent
to.
means to go around.
Oh, to go around. Okay, there you
from
go.
Eastern
Yeah.
Do,
Europe.
do the Eastern Europeans know what circumvent means?
I do.
I would be like, is that a circumvent?
Next time you're touring a house,
Yeah.
you're like, is that a circumvent?
What year are the circumvents from? I dare you. I'm gonna do it.
Oh my
I'm
god.
gonna do
Yeah, take a video.
Yeah. Okay.
We need to see. Okay, our next elaborate submission that we found on Reddit.
Ooh.
that.
Then we're gonna
Chat
circumvent
GPT.
around
Yeah,
the
we're gonna
room.
circumvent around the point.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so
Are the circumvents on?
it is getting on here. Okay, we're about to list our home this week, and our realtor was trying to get us to spend money to stage the home in certain rooms. We've already spent $12,000 on new carpet and an interior refresh. Is it not okay to have empty rooms, especially like a formal dining room, especially when the house is an open floor plan?
You sound poor.
Also, yeah, wait.
Well, yeah,
Rewind.
after
Oh my
spending
God.
12 grand on the carpet.
Which is fine.
Yeah, first of all, if you're getting new carpet, your house isn't going to sell, unfortunately.
Yeah, like who likes carpet?
Well,
They should have.
$12,000 worth of carpet. That's a lot of carpet.
Well,
so
no.
everything is
no,
in
no,
carpet.
no. Wait. I don't think.
Exactly.
I think they said $12,000 worth of new carpet and interior refreshments.
Yes.
So
Okay,
it's
I
not
blacked
only
out. I
the
did
carpet.
not
The
hear
circumvents are
anything
new.
after
The circumvents are new. Yeah.
Anastasia was like, someone's
a lot.
talking, saying my realtor is trying to get me to spend money. She just sees red.
How dare you?
Okay, who's gonna take this one?
Well, I always say with staging, it really is about the layout. If someone can visualize the layout, if it's very cookie cutter, you know where everything is going to go, then maybe you might not just stage it. But if the layout is like a
Funky.
little quirky, you don't know where an office or a desk space would be, if you need help visualizing that, then it probably should be staged. Also, it depends on what price point we're talking about too.
Right. And I agree. Like if your renovations that you spent $12,000 on are really nice and you like want those to stand out, then maybe you don't necessarily need the staging. Sometimes staging can also help hide imperfections in a house. Like if the carpet is messed up or the floors are messed up, like you can stage it and put a rug over it. No one will know. You know?
Also, if your only goal is to sell, renovation is not the right word. Like you shouldn't be renovating to sell. You should be
Like doing some minor work.
fixes
Putting
and
some
staging
lipstick
to
on it.
sell.
Well, okay,
Which
sorry.
they said they did though.
He said interior refresh.
Yeah, interior
What
refresh.
kind of interior refresh are you doing for $12,000?
Paint,
Maybe it's a-
repaint.
Carpet, maybe
You're so judgmental today.
maybe like some
Damn.
hardware.
I don't know. I'm like,
Maybe it's a 5,000 square foot house and they painted the whole thing and got
Maybe.
new carpet in all the bedrooms and like new appliances. Who
Yeah,
knows?
$12,000 is not gonna cut it though.
am I cheap? Did I wake up cheap?
I mean, you called him poor, or you called someone else poor.
Yeah.
I called this. No, I said they sound poor. They could be
That's
cheap.
very
They could be
different.
rich and cheap.
Okay, also because staging is also not that expensive. Like I always thought that staging was so expensive, but then once I started listing my clients' properties and I was getting quotes for staging, you can stage like a few rooms for like $800 to $1,000 and the contract is 3 months. And that includes the moving in and moving out. Like that's not that expensive.
No.
Okay, so what are your takes on partial stage home, fully staged home, or fully vacant home? I personally hate to walk buyers through partially staged homes.
Agree.
So if it's a nice house and then you walk into the living room and you see a couch, table, all that kind of like the good staging, and then you go into an empty dining room. Be
Right.
like,
I mean,
Really?
like
and then empty bedroom, and then one out of the 3 bedrooms is with a king size bed, but then the other ones are vacant. You know, like either go all in or just
I
move
agree.
everything out.
I mean, like the bottom line is if a buyer walks into a home that looks gorgeous and like they can envision like this aspirational life that they want for themselves, then it's going to sell. If like just there's no home that you walk into that's one priced correctly and is, you know, whatever. Wait, what am I saying? There's no home that you walk into that's priced correctly and looks like what the buyer that you're marketing towards wants their life to look like. That's not going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
If it's vacant, then it's a little bit more hit or miss of like if the buyer can like you said visualize where you would put things and visualize their stuff in there, then it's a little bit more hit or miss. But like if you do go full out with staging and like it looks elevated, it's gonna sell. If it's partially staged, I agree. It's kind of, I think partial staging is worse than no staging.
Yes, like I agree with that. I just hate seeing that kind of
Joe,
like
you
half-ass
disagree.
job.
I disagree. Only I have a clarifying question. Partial staging to me is like we use some of your stuff and then we stage some.
No.
You're talking about some vacant, some
Correct.
Okay, yeah, no. But if someone wants to partially stage, like if you have actually good taste and some of your stuff is
I agree.
good, then we can keep it there and we'll
Yes.
stage around it.
Correct.
That's fine.
Oh, yeah,
If you
I
have
did-
terrible taste and you're poor, then we should pay for better furniture.
I do that all the time, especially like that's how you can stage for an inexpensive amount, because if partial staging is less expensive than full staging. So if you have some furniture that looks good ish and then you can pull in some staging to elevate it, great. But yeah, vacant and then partially staged,
So
like no.
we were just talking about Lincoln Park. So let's say, like, what's your guys' take if you have a 2-2 in Lincoln Park in the middle of the spring market? Are you going to have your seller spend
Completely
on-
vacant. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. He's gonna fly
Yeah, it
off.
doesn't matter.
I will say it doesn't matter to an extent. Like it will still sell, but in my experience, walking into like the places that buyers go absolutely crazy for are all beautifully staged, or
Totally.
the seller has nice stuff, and those are the ones that they will go like bananas for.
Yeah.
So I still think staging is a good idea. Will it sell if it's priced correctly? Yes, but statistically, it's not even that I think statistically, stage home sells for more money.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, like to your point, like a vintage 2-2 in Lincoln Park. If a little girly is like buying that and she wants it to be so cute and blah, blah, blah. If she walks into a vacant house, okay, sure. If she walks into a house that has all of the furniture that
Yeah.
she would want to buy for herself, she's going to freak out
Yep.
and spend so much more money on
Or
it.
opposite way, like a really modern place. Sometimes when you walk into it, it can feel cold. If you add some staging in it, somebody can actually envision their place. So I think it will sell regardless, but it definitely helps. People go crazy.
The two things that help with sellers, in my opinion, is like the listing agent actually shows up to the showing and stage it. Like
Okay.
no, those
Personally.
Okay.
no, those are the two things that actually like will probably get you 60% more chance to sell the property.
And with Vesta Preferred Realty, we show up to all of our showings.
All of our showings. No lock boxes here.
What's a lockbox? So I just had something and I forgot.
Oh, think about it. Think about it.
Am I the oldest one here?
No, I am.
Oh, thank God.
Just 2 old guys with 2 young girls.
That's what the podcast should be called. 2 old guys and 2 young girls. Well, that's ew. Like now that I said it out loud, that
sounds like a lawsuit.
That sounds so disgusting.
Sounds like a lawsuit. So,
We're gonna
I know what I was
cut
gonna say. So let's say you have a listing coming up and your seller is like, I don't want to spend money on staging. What would you tell them to convince them that staging is needed?
I'm actually in this scenario currently.
So what are you saying?
I said,
because it's hard to get people to spend money on something like that, I think.
I said, 1, let me walk through the property and just from my professional view, kind of give you my opinion on if I think the space is going to be hard for people to envision. Like, for example, this is a 1-bed and it's like 1 bed with a living room and a dining room. And sometimes in those layouts, the bedroom is small. And so people have a hard time. They walk into a vacant bedroom and they're like, oh, I'm never going to be able to fit my queen bed, my nightstand, and my dresser in here. And then it's an automatic no. So like I told the client, I was like, let's walk through and let me see if there's any of those kind of red flags that I can foresee being sticking points for people. And then we can talk about if it's worth staging or not. And then I also said we could potentially look into virtual staging photos, which has like, I don't really know how I feel about that. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But if they really don't want to pay for the staging, that could be a more economical option. Or I said too, we could, if she really is against staging, we could go no staging and then we could put staging in later, but then we would have to take other photos. And so that's really not a great option. Or option 3, if I very much feel like it needs staging and she doesn't, but I think that it's actually going to very much like improve the market time and how much the property will sell for, then like last ditch effort, I might offer to like pay for some of it.
So, okay. Yeah. That was my net. Like, how do you, there's like another set of negotiation, right? Cause I've done that kind of like with painting. Like, I'm like, no, it needs to be painted. We were going from black to white, which is expensive to do, to go lighter than darker. So I was like, I will eat some of the cost for you because I'm so confident that this will work.
Or if you're having this conversation before, like, as
we should
you
cut that out because I don't want to pay for more stuff.
No, we're not cutting that out.
Honestly,
We're not cutting that
Don't
out.
ask me to pay for it. Sorry,
I pay
Anastasia.
for stuff to get deals done sometimes. Like I know people have different opinions. I know Brad would like never pay for
like
anything.
run through the door, be like,
but like
Yeah.
sometimes if you need to get a deal over the finish line and it's in the best interest of your client and like realistically it's not gonna like ruin your life, why not?
Okay.
Well, and if you get $10,000, $15,000 over what you thought you might get with the staging, then your commission kind of covers.
And if you are saying like, if I am, let's say I pay for staging in my client's home and then it sells fast and it sells for more than they expected and
they might pay you back.
They might pay me back, probably not.
Probably not.
But
Probably not. Probably
they
not.
are
Never
going to be like,
happen.
I had such a good experience with this person, and they're going to be more likely to refer me and to use
True.
me again because they're
And
going
I
to be
feel
like,
that's a slippery slope because they'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
I work with this girl. She pays for shit.
well, maybe, but at the end of the day, like if they're referring me someone and I'm going to make $5,000 off of it and I have to pay like $500 to split staging, like it's still net positive. A client that I want to
I was going to say too, a lot of times you have these conversations when you're first at the listing appointment. If I see that the seller is really hesitant about it, I might just say that I'll pay for it, but I'll negotiate myself a little higher commission split too. Like, so maybe I will go for 3.5%, but that will include the staging or something like that too. Because then you're coming out about the same way. And then, don't worry about it. We'll pay for
The
staging.
one thing that we have to, I don't think we discussed is how realistic the seller is. For example, if the property is worth 500,000 and they want 525 in a market that will get in 500,000
Right.
and be like, okay,
then maybe we don't
do
pay for
you
staging.
want to get the 525? Maybe you can if you do this, if you do what I'm telling you. Spend the money
Yeah.
on staging, like do the refreshments, paint and all that kind of stuff. Maybe spend like $3,000 to do the work to get the 525. Or at this point, can we list it at 475 and maybe get multiple
Multiples.
offers to get to that a little bit over 500 without the staging.
That's the thing, is it's all a strategy, and you have to, as an agent, have to present all of the strategies to your client and give them the choice. And you can give your opinion on what you think is going to work best and what's going to yield them the most amount of money, but ultimately it's up to them, and your job is to like give them all of the options.
I mean, your job also is to sell the place.
Well, of course.
That's the
But, like, that's what I'm
ultimate
saying,
end goal,
like,
though. So
yeah, and ultimately, like, if the one of the whoa stroke.
Because you're 100.
Joe.
Yeah, sorry, I'm turning 30 this year. Things are getting
It's all downhill.
Things are
My
getting
low
rough.
back hurts. So welcome to it.
I don't remember what I was gonna say, but yeah, I think we're in agreement. Shall we move on?
Yes,
Let's do it. Let's do the next.
We
Okay.
shall.
Long story short, don't work with poor people.
I think we should cut this off. I think
just
we're gonna
kidding.
get canceled before we air the first.
I mean,
I'm
you
sorry.
know,
I shouldn't say poor people. Cheap motherfuckers.
Cheap
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Cheap
Yeah.
people is the word, not poor.
Yeah.
yeah, because this guy
honestly-
spent $12,000, so he's not poor.
Well, and I have to say, honestly, the more money that I know that people have, the cheaper they are in situations.
Well, that's
like
how
that.
they have more money because they
Like-
don't spend on stupid shit.
I'm
The rich
like,
get richer.
You're selling $1 million place, and you're gonna go back and forth with me over $3,000 for whatever fixer uppers. I'm like, can we not? Can we save our breath and energy? Like I said, my back hurts. and
Well,
I
do you
need to
want
go
the
to
do you want the
physical
listing?
therapy. Huh?
Do you want the listing?
I'm tired. Yes, I want the. Of course, I want the listing, but I'm like,
mean-
don't be cheap. I don't know. I have
I
no
get
use
it.
for like.
Next story, I think.
I get it.
Before
I
Joe
understand.
keeps
Bothers me.
shitting on poor
Next
people.
week we'll talk about cheap people. Okay, so this is
Can't
gonna be our
wait.
last story because
Scenario.
our last scenario that we found on Reddit.
You're gonna be 30.
Okay.
You need to start talking with elevated vocabulary.
You guys are going to LOL at this. So try to hold your laughter until
Please,
I'm
not
done.
an
reading.
acronym.
Okay. Anyway. Hi, y'all. I, 22 male, want to get into the
I'm
real
out.
estate
Straight
business.
straight or gay. Straight or gay.
Oh, you tell me after I'm done reading. I'm currently living in the greater Boston area, and I do not have connections or a lot of resources.
Because you live in Boston.
And you're
Sorry.
22.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hello.
I'll
Joe,
gra-
wait until the story is
This
over.
is why I have to wear sleeveless because this is. Go ahead.
I'll graduate from college with a business degree in 2 semesters. I'm sorry, Joe. This keeps getting worse
Yeah,
for
it's
you.
all. I can't. I should leave.
Basically, I'm looking for my lifelong career, and after researching, I'm really interested in real estate. I really want to hear your brutal advice and opinions about what I should do to start, any tips and tricks, where I should start, like a big company versus a local brokerage, and any skills I must develop, etc. So,
Why the fuck did you go to college?
well, he was
sweet
planning-
summer
His
child.
parents made him.
There's so much to unpack.
there is
think-
basically a 22-year-old, it appears straight male in Boston wants to become a realtor.
What
What's
makes you?
our
What makes you
advice?
think he's straight?
Business school, Boston.
You don't know any gay business people from the East Coast?
Actually, I do. My ex-boyfriend's older brother.
I thought you were gonna say your ex-boyfriend. I wish you did. That would have been great.
No, he
Okay.
may be gay now, but he still lives in Chicago. So
What do you mean he may be gay?
I don't know. I'm blocked.
You're
on,
blocked.
on all social media, so I have no idea. He could not.
Oh, what's his
Oh.
name? Maybe I know him.
No, you don't.
Okay, long story short, pick another career.
Yeah, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, to be completely honest. Someday, no, actually, I take that back. This is a great job. Wait, if you're a 22-year-old and you're just graduating college, though, and you have no connections and no resources, like,
You're going to hate your life. You will hate your life doing this because you have to work every day. You have to work every weekend. If you're 22, fresh out of college, and you want to party and you want to do Sunday fun days and you want to go out and club, it will be a nightmare.
and you really, like, in this person's situation, I would recommend, like, working as an assistant for someone or starting on a team where you can learn the ropes, because if you just try to go out and do it on your own, like, I'm not going to tell you that you're going to fail, but, like,
Does he say he wants to do it on his own?
no.
Alright.
He was asking for any advice.
But nobody
Nice.
comes into
But,
real
like-
estate thinking I will be somebody's associate broker.
Right. Like, you also, I feel like when you're really young, you don't have a network and you're starting, you kind of have to expect to, like, be someone's bitch, you know?
I think the major point here, especially for a 22-year-old who is probably poor, and I don't mean that. I mean just mean when you're in your early 20s, like you're
Yeah.
really
That's
struggling.
true.
Right?
I was
That is
poor
true.
until last year, so. Yeah.
I'm still poor. I just fake it really, really well. These are on loan. No, I'm just kidding. I think the most important takeaway is like you don't get paid unless you close a deal. So if you're 22 and you're hustling, you might be doing all this hustling and not even making any money. Like you need to know that. So you're probably gonna need a side job. Like there's a lot that goes into
And
that.
it's
You
really
need a
hard
s-
to do it as a part-time too. It's a very, it's
Exactly.
a double-edged sword.
You need
Yep.
a side job or honestly like someone that can help support you. Like
Or start an
genuinely.
OnlyFans.
That too.
That helps.
That helps. But like, I feel like there's a lot of people that get into real estate who have either like partners or like family that can help them because it's very inconsistent, especially in the beginning. And unless you have a side job or an OnlyFans or like a sugar daddy, it's very hard to get by when you're first starting.
I would say go for it.
To a 22-year-old?
Yep.
I don't.
Yep. The reason I'm saying that is okay. Yes, you are going to struggle. You're going to hate your life for probably 5 to 6 years. You're absolutely going to hate your life. But think about that. If you make it if you actually establish yourself as a good real estate agent, I'm talking about, yes, educate yourself, actually have a good work ethic. And if you can establish yourself as a good real estate agent at the age of 27, by the age of 35, you will be balling.
True.
You will be absolutely balling. But the first 5 years of your career, basically, you are going to have to deliver Grubhub. You are going to have to pick bartending or serving shifts, whatever it is, somewhere in a local dive bar or something. OnlyFans, Fit Pics, whatever the fuck young kids do these days. But as whatever you have to do in order to get, maybe you get a job as like you said, being someone's little bitch in a real estate company, being
And get a salary.
get a salary, get a 30
Or a
40
transaction
Yeah.
coordinator or something.
Get
Something where you
that-
can get steady income.
get that $30,000-$40,000 just so you can barely survive. You can barely, like, literally scraping for food, rent, and whatever the hell it is. Boston is a very, very tough place to survive because it's very expensive.
Come to Chicago.
I thought you were gonna say very cold.
Oh, that
But
too.
also, I don't know if you guys feel this way. Before I got into real estate, worked in marketing for a few years. And I actually think my corporate job helped me a lot because in real estate, it's very, or any job where you're like 1099 contract, like if you own your own company, whatever, you are setting your own boundaries and pushing yourself basically. And coming from a 9 to 5 like corporate job, I felt like I had more discipline than I would have if I just like got into it straight out of college. So sometimes I think having other job experience can help you once you do get into real estate. Like real estate may be your long-term goal to get into, but I don't think it's bad to like start in another type of job.
Or even something real estate adjacent, maybe.
Right. Like property management or something along those lines
Lease
where you're
rentals.
Something that you'll be able to survive. Like that's all it is, and everything else for the next 5 years is going to depend on your work ethic. Like, are you really interested in working 24/7 for 5 years straight up, no parties, no like, you know, serious girlfriends or anything like that? Absolutely nothing but work for 5 years, and get yourself roommates so you can lower the cost of living. Like, live with a bunch of dudes all over the place, pay like whatever $500-$600 a month, like living in a room like literally like a mouse,
Like a 22-year-old.
like a
Yeah.
22-year-old straight out of college. But
this
again,
guy's like, this sounds perfect. Roommates.
no, what
Sounds
I'm just
fun.
saying is because not a lot of 22-year-olds have the discipline not to go and get fucked up every Saturday night or Friday night or whatever it is.
But they also have the resilience to be able to do that and then get up and do a showing.
True.
That's true.
I think the major point of what we're all saying is the industry, the real estate industry in general, is super romanticized.
Very.
Whether it's on TV or whether it's like watching something like this on Instagram or you young people are on TikTok, like it seems like you just show beautiful homes,
Yeah.
you drive a beautiful car, and you're closing all these deals and you dress up. But like I said, you do not get paid until you close a deal. And all the crap that comes before closing is a lot of work that a lot of people don't understand. And that's what I hope that we can also kind of speak to in this too.
Yeah. And like, yeah, you do show beautiful homes. It's great. You meet a ton of cool people, but you also cry a lot.
A lot.
Oh my
in my
gosh, stressed
scenario.
out. I'm stressed out all the time.
Stressed,
what do you
like
cry about?
not having money. Like, what do you mean?
Whoa.
I was gonna say too, it's really, really hard to do business and convince people to work with you and convince that you have their best interest in mind when you are broke and it's coming out of desperation.
People can
I've
smell
worked with-
desperation.
I've worked with those agents. I'm like, I can tell that you just want to get paid. And if I can tell, I promise you a client can tell, and they're just not getting the best representation. So whatever you do, make sure you have something saved up or something
Yeah.
on the side. Because
There's
otherwise it's gonna be fine.
actually like, not that anyone cares about my personal anecdotes, but
We do.
there was last year at the end of 2023, I like did not close any deals for like 3 months. Like, I don't know what was going on.
You were crying.
I was
People were making you
crying.
cry.
I was desperate. I was not confident. I was not giving my clients good advice. And I like, it just compounds on each other because when you're desperate, then like each showing you are like seething desperation, and then clients don't want to work with you, and then it like compounds because you then get more desperate, and then it's like a snowball effect. So basically, long story short, if you are going to get into real estate as a young person with no resources or connections, then just do something that
This is a great place to start. I think. As a
Yeah,
young
I think
person.
so, too.
I wish I started here when I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
Same.
22
Yeah.
as an
Same.
associate broker.
Yeah.
When they're on salary, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So you make it. I don't know how it works. You make a salary and you're someone's
You learn from the best.
assistant,
Yeah.
but it's a true mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
People will guide you to be like what you're saying. Balla by. Would you say
Yeah.
35?
I mean,
Crap, I'm
okay,
35. I'm
think-
not balling anything.
Think about it. If you actually
are.
set up a good foundation for 5 years, and then at 27, you do start getting a little bit of a like referral business and start blowing up on Facebook, Instagram, wherever young kids are doing these days.
Facebook.
I mean, I don't know. I'm
You know,
old.
Facebook.
What young
I'm
kids are
the
doing these
oldest
days?
one here, though. So
I
anyway,
blew up on Facebook. Hey!
anyway, by the age of 35, 36, 37, you'll be living a very comfortable life. Very,
Yeah.
very comfortable life.
Basically, it sucks until it doesn't.
True.
Which I guess is what
And I think
That's
it
with
always
everything.
sucks in some capacity, but it will start sucking less,
Yeah.
and then you have more fun with it.
But yeah, like you said, any job sucks until it doesn't. Like when you start in corporate and you're at the bottom of the totem pole, that's awful. And then you work your way up, it gets a little bit
Also,
better.
your 20s are just suck. Like, are you
Yeah.
excited to be 30?
I in the last couple months, I've started to feel a lot better about like just myself in general, which is making me excited to get older.
I would not go back to my 20s.
I'm excited.
For-
Yeah.
I just turned 30.
Yeah.
When I say just, I mean in November. But I think it's gonna be great. You have more money. You're not as stupid. You have more connections. And you like know yourself. As a 20-year-old, I would not want to talk to myself as a 20-year-old
No.
if I like met myself.
True.
Like,
I was a
you're
complete prick.
terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I was
Are
looking.
you talking in the past tense?
Okay, I was way bigger of a prick, I guess, like in my 20s. Like I'm still a prick, but I have it under control.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He's a recovering prick.
For the most time, I have it under
unleash
control.
it.
When are
I-
those meetings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but also the fake it till you make it culture for selling Sunrise or whatever the fuck they're selling there.
It's
is
selling
like
sunset.
they've made it so like you said, they romanticize the idea of like being that like boss lady or that like that gentleman that like goes in a suit and sells like $20 million penthouse or something. And it's just not it. Like
Yeah,
maybe
it's not real.
Maybe we're talking about 100 to 200 agents in the country
Yeah.
do that kind of job.
And hey, it could be you if you start out at 22.
God, I hope it's
this
me.
and this is what I'm saying. Like, what stops you for being the next Ryan Serhant, for example? What stops
Yeah.
you? Like, yes, I mean the guy started from
patriarchy.
somewhere.
Well, he is a man, so it's fine.
So
So he has a better chance than
us
us.
than us. Well, can we also talk about how those shows like Selling Sunset make people hate realtors because they
I
think
think-
that all we do is dress up and have brunch and
I think
talk
Reddit-
shit about each other.
I
All
think-
right.
I think we got to wrap it.
That's our show.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to our first episode. We'll be back next week with some more unhinged rumors,
I think we should
stories
go
that we
more
found on
unhinged next episode.
More unhinged.
More.
My jaw hurts.
Reddit. Okay.
Thank you for watching us.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Bye.
That's good.